Begin by sliding the Inokatsu gearbox into place within the rifle's receiver. Be careful that the fire selection gear on the gearbox does not fall out. If you have a solid buttstock model, be careful to thread the battery connection through the small hole in the back of the receiver, using a pair of needle nose pliers if necessary. Make sure the gearbox is fully inserted into the receiver so that the fire setting plate hole on the side of the receiver aligns cleanly with the gearbox fire setting screw hole, and that the fire selection gear on the gearbox does not fall off. Next, firmly screw on the fire setting plate assembly by hand or with a screwdriver, depending on your product model. Notice that the assembly is keyed and will only fit into the gearbox one way. Now affix the inner and outer barrels. First, slide the inner barrel through the front of the receiver from back to front, and then thread the inner barrel into the outer barrel, sliding the outer barrel through the receiver from front to back. Once the inner barrel is fully threaded into the outer barrel, screw in the 2 barrel joint screws to firmly affix the inner and outer barrels and form the barrel assembly. Then, slide the barrel assembly snugly onto the gearbox BB fire exit and screw the barrel placement screws on the top front of the receiver until they are tight and the barrel assembly is firmly in place. Affix the pistol grip by placing it over the pistol grip portion of the gearbox and screwing it on until tight. Make sure the metal bracket between the pistol grip and receiver is in place for proper assembly. Now affix the buttstock by sliding it onto the back end of the receiver and screwing it on firmly from the top and the bottom. Make sure to cleanly thread the battery connection through the buttstock on solid stock models. Next, slide the rear sights onto the barrel assembly until they are snug against the receiver and screw tightly from beneath. Slide the forend into place, followed by the forend front bracket. Once the forend is in place, screw the forend bracket into place from the top. Make sure the forend rear bracket is in place as well. Next, affix the upper handguard and gas tube assembly into place by sliding them firmly into the front end of the rear sights and sliding the gas block into place on the barrel. Once the gas block is in place and straight, screw tightly to the barrel. Affix the front sights by sliding them onto the barrel assembly and screwing tightly from the bottom. Now slide the barrel pin into place. To finish up, put the bolt carrier in place on top of the receiver. Then, slide the bolt carrier pin and spring through the side of the bolt carrier and into the receiver, hooking the back end of the pin onto the dust cover release affixed to the top rear of the gearbox. Finally, fit the front lip of the dust cover into the groove on the rear sights and bring the back end of the dust cover down to fit around the dust cover release affixed to the top rear of the gearbox. Pull back on the bolt to pop the dust cover release back into place. The assembly is now complete.